He's gonna blow himself out.
I live for the best.
All right, welcome back to another School Principal Reacts. My name is Brandon, and I'm a high school principal from the U.S. state of Georgia. Taking a look at another episode of The Amazing World of Gumball. This series has been really, really crazy, but you all have recommended this as well as these specific episodes that I've been taking a look at. This one is called The Lesson, I believe. Don't know what it's about, haven't seen it before. I'm going to be reacting to it for the first time with you all. If you aren't subscribed, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and with that, let's get into it. All right, The Lesson. Let's see where this one ends up here.
Well, come on, concentrate a little, man. We'll never be ready for the math test.
All right, they're in their room studying for their math test, and I have seen versions of this before where students, particularly younger students, will try to study something and they're very, very, very easily get thrown off task and start doing stuff like that, just playing around. But good for him. He said, hey, we've got to study. Let's see what happens here.
If the square of the hypotenuse equals the sum of the square of the other two sides, what is the length of side A?
I know not, master.
Pythagorean
You
theorem.
have failed me for the last time. Oh, come on, we're supposed to be studying.
But he's the one that keeps throwing him off. That's pretty funny. I used to do that very thing. You get a nice flexible ruler, you put it on a flat surface with half of it hanging off, and you do what he's doing right here. Let me know if you've ever done that in school. Here we go.
Dude, stop distracting me.
All
right, come on, let's get some work done.
Yeah. Oh. Yep. So a lot of that is just grossness that I've never done. I have, if you saw them start to put together a little beat or a little song using the book and the ruler. Yep, I did plenty of that. Also with the compass used for drawing circles. It's very easy to get carried away with those as well. The other stuff, no, not really.
It's not working. I'm not absorbing any of the knowledge.
Eating the book.
Be still, you cur. Imbibe that parchment swiftly. Anon we face our trial. Bye.
So I guess it did work. He says phi and phi again. He ate the book of Elizabethan poetry, or at least a few pages, and now he's talking in that style. So yeah, I'm like, that doesn't usually work. You eat a page from a book and then you absorb the knowledge contained on the page. Usually that doesn't work, but apparently it does in this universe.
We've been chewing the wrong books. We're gonna flunk the test. We'll get caught in a downward spiral of failure. We'll get held back a year, and before you know it, we'll be the only kids in 7th grade with beards.
Unless
What?
we could,
What?
we could,
He's saying here.
could.
What is that?
What? You mean...
Cheating! Did you really think you could get away?
Cheating. At first, I thought she was saying skipping. She meant cheating. Yeah, academic honesty is kind of a big deal. You can't cheat. In a lot of schools, if you get caught cheating, they will either give you a 0 for whatever the assignment was or some other consequence or both. So let's see what happens here. Here's Mr. Brown again, and he seems to have some real diplomas on the wall. I remember in the episode The Fraud where he had them kind of painted on the wall, but they appear to be real. But let's see where this goes here.
To be honest, yeah, I thought we could. I have no idea what went wrong.
Well, maybe you'll figure it out during spring break, which you're spending in detention. I'm putting you in the long detention block. So from now on, you don't eat, you don't go to the bathroom, you don't speak, you don't even blink unless I say so. Do you understand? What?
Can I blink, please?
No.
All right. So can students get detention? Yes. Can they get detention for cheating? If it's in the school handbook, then yes, absolutely. Can they be put in detention during spring break? That would be a problem. You could only do that maybe if the school had some sort of detention during spring break and the student or parent agreed to do that in lieu of some other punishment. But in general, no, that would be a huge problem. Mr. Brown would not be able to do that. Absolutely absolutely not, particularly when school's not even in session. You just can't do that. But let's see where this goes here.
Silence, you animals! These are the new inmates.
Inmates.
Feel welcome.
Can I blink now?
You're not gonna last 2 minutes in here, little fish.
Inmates. Ooh.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. What do we?
And he says he made it sound like they're going to be in there for the entirety of spring break, like overnight even. Obviously you can't do that. This is just getting sillier and sillier. And he called them inmates. You would never, ever say that. This is just so crazy. But let's keep going here.
What do you think?
I don't know. I think we look a bit too old for young offenders.
Maybe. Perfect.
I guess they wrote on themselves. That's kind of weird. And I'm like, even in detention, or this seems more like some sort of alternative school program rather than a detention, or maybe an in-school suspension. But in all of those places, you have a teacher. I mean, they don't just throw students in a room and just leave them there. You're going to have a teacher for in-school suspension or ISS for detention, even an alternative school program. You're going to have teachers there. So I haven't seen a teacher yet. And here they appear to be in the school cafeteria or a cafeteria. Let's see where this is going here.
Thanks, man. I owe you one.
You owe me more than that if you want my protection, Davy.
Protection.
What's a davy?
Detention slang for dumb baby.
Oh, I see. Who protects us
Detention
from?
slang.
He means who are you going to protect us from?
Me.
Why does that kid want us to steal the school plans anyway?
That's the least of our worries. The guy's a walk.
All right. So this other guy says he is going to give him protection from himself. Okay, that's pretty straightforward bullying. And now they're cleaning Mr. Brown's office, which you can't really make students do that. Now, I've seen schools where it's more like, hey, if you agree to do this service, which may include cleaning up the school, will allow you to do that in lieu of some other worse punishment. You can't force students to do that.
Okay, let's do this. Here, found it.
You're both going to the correctional room.
No! Not the correctional room.
Correctional room.
Boys,
Correctional
I believe
room.
You keep getting into trouble because you're not expressing yourselves creatively.
Okay. All right. And I have so many questions. So he said something about stealing the school's plans, and what he took out made it look sort of like blueprints of the school. I'm not sure why they would even want that. That doesn't make any sense. And then Mr. Brown says he's going to the correctional room, which sounds really bad. Something that's not even a part of any school. Where they're at now seems more like a counselor.
I'm going to read you some of my poems, okay? The first is an epic life story written from the perspective of a shoe. Part 1 of 87. Birth, dark, factory, noise, the
Birth of a
smell
shoe?
of polish. Souls fitting souls soullessly, dolefully.
Let us down! This is cruel and unusual!
Yeah, so he says it's cruel and unusual because he starts reading poetry to him. But I've never really seen that. Now, having students see a counselor, whether it be the school counselor that works there, or I've also seen outside counselors that come to the school and provide service. That does happen in real life. Students who have any number of issues or things that they need to talk through can be for many different reasons, including behavioral issues, but they might speak to a counselor. That is a thing that happens. But the person reading them poetry as some sort of twisted punishment, no, that would not be happening.
What have we learned today?
Don't
He gave them the
ever
plans.
break the rules ever again.
No, Fish. Don't ever get caught. That's the only rule you need to care about. Now, here's a list of the stuff you're gonna steal from me.
Oh, not going anywhere good.
Well, I cheated on a math test. Teacher says I gotta pay. Doing time up at the schoolhouse, and it gets worse every day.
And honestly, what I see here looks a lot like maybe an in-school suspension. Detention is something that you do for maybe 30 minutes or an hour, and then you're gone. Like if you've seen my Ned's Declassified School Survival Guide on detention, that's pretty accurate. But this is more like in-school suspension or even an alternative school program, which are real things that do happen in real life, but not the way they're portraying it here. Not even close. This is like really, really horrible. But let's see where this goes here. Paperclip. Okay, and I say that because you see this little scanning wand that Mr. Brown has? Those are actually used in schools as school safety has become more and more prevalent. School security, in some cases, having to become tighter. You do see the use of metal detectors and more commonly these wands, just because they're way easier to use than a large metal detector where you have to have students take all their stuff off and go through book bags. These little wands are much more common and much easier to use, but they are used in schools. Probably not how they're doing it here, but yes, they are used in schools, unfortunately. It's got a rake.
Stuck here in detention, I have found another way.
And I'm wondering, okay, what are they going to do with these items? And you saw them do things like raking the football field in the rain. That would never happen. Lifting weights, unless it's part of a weightlifting class, you're not going to be doing that, particularly outside. And he's saying, I'm the baddest kid in prison. Suddenly they're in prison now, not in school. Now I've heard some people describe like in-school suspension, like school jail is the way I've heard it described. That's not exactly what it is. They're taking this way, way, way too far. I can't even say how far this is, but let's see how this is going to end here. That's pretty crazy.
Silence, you animals! I want this room cleaned up by lunchtime. Do you hear me?
Escaping.
Where is he going?
Oh my gosh, he's going to escape.
No, dude. We are.
Oh, okay.
I don't think we're ready for life on the outside. What do you
And by the way, if this were an in-school suspension, I have seen people walk out before. Very typically, if you're in-school suspension and you get in some kind of trouble while you're in there, you're either going to have, well, more in-school suspension added or some other consequence, like out-of-school suspension, or depending on what happens, there could be more consequences. So yeah, just leaving in-school suspension, if that's really what this was, wouldn't really solve your problem. And it's just so far beyond the pale. It's kind of crazy. And there would be a teacher or another staff member kind of running that room or that class. Mr. Brown himself probably wouldn't be doing it. And he certainly wouldn't be just leaving them alone for huge swaths of time. He just wouldn't. Okay, there we go.
Oh, please! We're too cute for detention.
I don't care.
Yeah, I feel like I should start a potential firings list for Mr. Brown. He's asleep in his office. That's pretty bad. Would he be fired for that? Maybe, maybe not. But I've seen so many other things in this episode that probably deserve a firing that it seems small by comparison.
Okay, just stop shouting.
Uh-oh.
Detention break! Lockdown!
Lockdown.
That was easier than I thought.
And it's like, what's the plan? You know, you leave the school and then what? You just never go back to school again ever? And if so, you're right back where you started. So I really don't see what the point is here, but all right.
I thought you said this led to the roof.
It does. It just won't open.
What the what? What do you mean it won't open?
I mean, there's no way to get out, you massork. What?
A soap-dodging thunder jerk with a fart mustache.
Yeah? Well, you're a splurging nerd with a trifle up in his crane slip, and your friend is just a plastic rider.
He's going to blow himself out.
You double-crossing nerd.
I live for the best. Oh, so that's what we needed the rope for.
And we use the rake as a hook. Quick!
It's so
Okay,
crazy.
How long does this rope need to be?
It's the square of the height of the school multiplied by
Are you sure it's not divide?
Okay, so they're going to use the Pythagorean theorem that they learned in math class to escape, I guess. That's kind of ironic there.
Surrender now when you're lonely!
Oh, yeah. Jumping off of a 2 or 3 story building and landing on the concrete. Yeah, this is going to be an issue there.
See you never!
You never, Principal Brown!
He's not going to go back to school.
I don't know why they're so happy. They still have to come back here tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm like, I was right there with him. Like, they just have to come back tomorrow unless they're just quitting school permanently somehow. I don't think their parents would allow that anyway. But that's the episode. That was just as crazy as the other ones that I've looked at with them getting sent to detention. Although that didn't seem like detention. That seemed like in-school suspension or some sort of alternative school program. But but they made it out like a prison, which is just way, 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 way too far. But that's the way they made it seem for laughs sake. But they ended up escaping, and he's like, you just have to come back tomorrow, which is very true. But I hope you enjoyed that reaction. That was so crazy. But there is such a thing as in-school suspension, and that's kind of what this reminds me of. Granted, a lot of the stuff that happened would not actually happen in real life, needless to say. But that's the episode. Hope you enjoyed it. If you have more episodes of Gumball you'd like me to take a look at, particularly those that happen at the school here, please let me know in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel. I'll see you next time on School Principal Reacts. Thanks for watching.